One last final tip on questions. Sometimes no one's raising a hand or shouting out a question, but you can just see from the look of their face a slight look of confusion. Don't just brush it off. Don't just say, well, no, they didn't ask a question, they had a chance. What I like to do in that situation is not say, hey, Bill, you look confused. You're not getting it, dummy. I mean, that would obviously be rude. What I'd like to do is put it back on me. So I might say, Bill, I feel like I've perhaps been less than completely clear. And I'll try to give them an easy opportunity to say, yeah, actually, I was a little confused by that last part. If I make it sound like I'm the one who messed up a little or was less than clear, I take all the pressure off of that person to then answer the question. You can't do this if you're fixated on my content, my speech, my talking points, my bullet point. You have to really be looking at your audience carefully to elicit these questions, because these are the unstated questions. You have to prompt them a little, coax them out of your trainings. But when you do that, you achieve a much higher level of a training experience. So what do you do if you finished a section of your presentation within a training, or you finish the training and you say, now I'll take your questions. I'm happy to take questions, and all of a sudden, crickets. You could hear a pin drop. Now, for many trainers and many speakers, this is embarrassing. And people do something like this. Okay, I guess that's it. And they scurry off like mice. And it leaves a bad taste in people's mouth. It makes you look like you felt like this session was a failure, or this section of the training was a failure. And you seem like a smart person. If you think it was a failure, it must have been a failure. That's what can go on in the mind of your trainees. So don't be so quick to assume it is something negative. It may be you explained everything so well, people are very satisfied. So don't automatically assume that you were uninteresting because no one had any questions. Here's a tactic I use that's very effective. I'll toss it open for questions. We'll now take questions. I'll wait a beat or two, and then without looking panicked, inwardly I might be thinking, oh no, nobody loves me, nobody's asking questions. But outwardly, I just have a slight, pleasant smile on my face. I look completely relaxed. I look around the room, and I'll say, while I give you a moment to think of your questions, one of the most common questions I get when training people in your shoes is, and then I'll ask myself a question, and then I'll answer it. You've got to think about this. You've got to be prepared. You should know the most common questions people ask you on your subject matter. A lot of times people just don't want to go first, or they had to think about, oh, what questions do I have? So you need to give them time. By you asking yourself a question and answering one, you can essentially prime the pump. And then other people will ask questions. Now, sometimes they still don't have questions. The key is still, you don't act flustered, don't act bothered. What I like to do is say, I know many of you will be thinking of questions later today, next week. Remember, you can always email me or call me with your questions. We are now officially concluded, and then I go on from there. This way it seems smooth, it seems comfortable, no one's embarrassed. I leave open the door for continuing dialogue. And that's what so many people want. Even if they don't reach out, people like to know they can reach out to you, that you are a continued resource for them. And it's not just, this is one shot and that's all you get.